Welcome to Live the Light, a show about personal growth through spirituality. And I'm your host, psychic, medium, and intuitive artist Nicole Bowman. And I want to thank you guys so much for sharing your light with me and listening, wherever you are listening, around the world, around the country. I greatly appreciate it. So you can catch Live the Light the first of every month on Blog Talk Radio, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. There are also a variety of channels and different ways you can listen. I'm putting all of those links in the bottom of the description so you can check them out. So today we're going to move into a continuation of a series that we've been talking about over the past few months, and that is COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, and how that is informing our spiritual growth and the challenges that we as people of Earth, as United States citizens, if you happen to live in the United States, are experiencing. But as I said before, this is not unique to the United States. This is obviously a global situation. You know, this is a pandemic, so it's affecting us all. But today I want to specifically talk about how COVID-19, on a very basic and very literal level, is forcing us to be more self-aware. You know, we're all having to consider our personal hygiene. We're having to consider the energy we bring to a space. We're having to consider how our health may affect the health of our families, the global community, the local community at large. And, you know, that is spiritual growth in and of itself. That is self-awareness. When you take a moment to question, when you take a moment to ponder how your actions, choices, thoughts, and behavior not only affect you, not only affect your family and the people you love, but also affect your local community and your global community. You see, the reason why this is so important and the reason why this is so huge is because when we start thinking about not just the personal impact we have on others, but the global impact, the local impact we have on the community, we're beginning to think like a leader. We're beginning to think like an ancestor. We're beginning to think like an empath, because that really is empathy. Empathy is the ability to place yourself in someone else's shoes and look at how your actions, choices, and behavior may affect those around you. You know, and COVID-19 is giving us an opportunity to be more compassionate, to be more self-aware, to be more empathetic and sympathetic to people we don't even know. To understand that what I do here in the United States of America could affect someone in Italy or in China or in India or so forth. So it's a great opportunity for us to grow. And with that said, we really want to look at and be mindful of the energy that we bring to a space. We really want to be mindful of not taking our drama and our hysteria and our negative energy and placing it on other people. Right? And we can look at that in very literal terms, in terms of this virus and keeping ourselves and those around us healthy. But we can also look at that in more figurative terms, in more metaphorical terms, in terms of spirit and emotion and the energy we're bringing to a space. You know, and I was led to talk about this because one of the major aspects of spiritual maturity is understanding the way that your energy can affect a room, the way that your energy can affect other people, and choosing to be a blessing to other people instead of a curse or a source of stress. You know, I was led to talk about this because over the past few weeks, and I've experienced this off and on throughout my life, but over the past few weeks especially, you know, there were some people coming to me in the midst of COVID-19 very frantic and very panicked, right? And kind of telling me all of these horrible things that were happening to me or would be happening to me, not understanding that they weren't channeling me or my energy. They were channeling themselves. They were channeling their own fears. And ordinarily, I would kind of just ignore the messages and not say anything. But Spirit actually said, you know, you need to take a moment to explain to these people that the energy they bring to a space is important and it's sacred. And before they open their mouths to speak, before any of us opens our mouths to speak, we really need to ask ourselves, number one, what I'm saying, is it true? Number two, is it necessary? And number three, is it spirit-led? And I would even throw in number four, is it going to help anything? You know, because a lot of times when we're on autopilot and we're in a panic state, we're kind of just spewing all sorts of information and nonsense, and that can actually create stress for other people. You know, it's interesting. A few months ago, one of the things that Spirit said on a broadcast on Blog Talk Radio when we were doing a live reading show, one of the things that Spirit said is They said you want to make sure that you clear your mind and you try to get as calm as possible, because when you're making choices in a panic state, when you're making decisions from a panic state, you're not thinking clearly. You're not walking in a space of love. You're walking in a space of fear. And when you're walking in a space of fear, you're bound not only to make mistakes, but you're bound to hurt, harm, or injure yourself or other people. So this is incredibly important for us, the individual, but it's also important for the world at large. So I would definitely say this: if there are friends or family members or people that you guys are concerned about, definitely important to reach out and make sure that folks need things. But before you reach out, make sure that you're in a state of peace, even if you're concerned for that person, because the energy we bring to a space can be felt. And you don't want, in a crucial moment, your pain, your hysteria, your drama, and maybe misinformation that you're spreading to be spread to that person and then make it difficult for them to function and for them to survive, you know? So this is just a quick little message. Be mindful of the energy you bring to a space. Definitely take this time to build your relationship with God, to build your relationship with the divine, because when you are able to lean on God, you're not necessarily gonna go in as much with guns blazing, so to speak, right? You're going to take a moment to pray. You're going to take a moment to go within and say, you know, is it right that I should say this right now? Is this going to improve this person's life? Am I even spirit led to say this? You know, because sometimes when we're giving unsolicited advice or when we're giving unsolicited information, it actually can create and do more damage because it's not really coming from an informed, grounded place. You know, before we close, just to tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, during Hurricane Irma, I live in Florida. And for those of you who know this, I travel internationally, but when I'm in the United States, I'm normally in Florida, Miami to be specific, to be exact. And I remember Hurricane Irma a couple years ago. It was a horrible hurricane. It devastated the Caribbean islands. It did hit Florida, but not as severely. And it was a terrible state. And I remember at that time prepping for the hurricane, you know, because Floridians, we're so used to tropical storms and things that we're always prepping. We're always having reserves. We're always making sure that we're hurricane ready, you know, because we never know, you know, if it could hit us and impact us quite negatively. So I'm prepping for the hurricane and getting everything ready, you know, on a physical level, obviously. And also, you know, praying. And I'd asked Spirit, you know, should I evacuate the state? What should I do? And Spirit said very clearly, no, you don't need to evacuate. You'll be fine, but just do your prep because you're going to lose power for a few days. And that's actually precisely what happened. But I got all my food, my batteries, everything that I needed, you know, so that I could survive through those power outages and such. But I remember prior to the hurricane getting frantic messages from people telling me I needed to get out of the state, I needed to leave, I needed to get in my car and drive somewhere. And I could tell, you know, that these people, though well-meaning, though believing they were psychic, though believing that they were actually channeling grounded information, were totally out of whack, you know. And what they were saying, while they were channeling the energy of the storm, they weren't channeling the energy of me and how it related to me and my situation. And so they were kind of just giving this frantic, hysterical, panicked, unsolicited advice that wasn't even coming from Spirit. And had I listened to them, I would have driven straight into a storm. And the reason I would have driven straight into a storm is because the storm changed its course. The hurricane was headed for Miami. It was slated to hit Miami. But then at the last minute, it veered off to the western coast, and it actually went straight through the state. So had I listened to what all of these people were saying about what I should have been doing, I would have driven into a storm and I would have put myself in harm's way. But because I listened to Spirit and I also used my God-given intelligence to prepare, I completely avoided that. And that's what I'm saying to you. Hold on to what you know to be true. I'm not saying throw caution and logic to the wind. Use logic, use caution, use your God-given intelligence. You have it for a reason. But you also want to pray. You want to go within. You want to listen to your intuition when you're giving advice or when you're receiving advice. And I would say this is a time more so than ever. If people are trying to come into your space, your airwaves, your phone, etc., and sort of bring panic and hysteria to you, this would actually be a time possibly not even just to correct people, I mean, not to ignore people, but actually to correct the behavior. Because when you correct the behavior, you basically say, this will not stand in my space. You know, I do not accept this in my space. I do not accept this level of energy that you're bringing. And I think we may have to hold more people accountable, you know, for the energy that they're bringing to a space and for some of the pain and hysteria they may be causing. And to be clear, I wouldn't say that everyone is doing this intentionally. Some people genuinely do mean well, but because they haven't taken time to self-reflect and go within, they're just sort of spewing the first thing that comes off the top of their heads. So really take time. Remember this. Ask yourself, am I spirit-led to tell this person this, number one? Because if it's not spirit-led, just don't say anything, especially in times like this. Number two, will it be helpful? Will it actually even help this person? Because if it's spirit-led, it's going to help them. And number three, is this coming from my fear? Or is this actually coming from a real grounded place? And I would definitely say if those three things can't pass the gates, then don't let it pass the gates of your mouth. You know, kind of keep it to yourself, go within, pray, calm down. This is an excellent time to self-reflect, right? You know, this is an excellent time to self-reflect. If you have the ability to be working from home now and that's where you're at, take this time to sort of be at home, be to yourself, take care of yourself, calm yourself down. Then after you've calmed down, reach out and connect with other people. Because what we need now more than anything is we need love, we need peace, we need joy. We also need information that is backed by facts, things that we know to be true. So bring that to people, bring that to spaces as opposed to drama and confusion. And you have the ability, you have the choice to be able to do this. So I will leave you guys with that. I'm wishing you a fabulous week and a fabulous month. And I do want to share something special that I'm doing from now until the end of this year. Every month, I will be sharing a book. And it will always be books that I've read that I found to be really, really helpful that I think will help you. And so the book of the month for May is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And for those of you who are not familiar with Louise Hay, she was a metaphysician. She was a well-known author and teacher and a workshop facilitator. And she's since passed away, but she wrote a wonderful book about how our thoughts and emotions inform our life and inform our choices. You know, and what better book to read during this time of COVID-19 than You Can Heal Your Life? You can heal your life, you can heal your body, you can heal yourself. So if you would like to read that, you can go to nicoleintuitive.biz and click the link in the description. You can actually purchase it through my Amazon affiliate store if you'd like. Or you can go on Scribd or many different places online and read it yourself. It's available worldwide. So, but I just wanted to share that. And always remember to live your light, live your bliss, love yourself. Take care, guys.